Welcome to Hancock's VMware Half Hour. Okay, so I'm on a run. I've had a little look at the weather forecast, and it looks like this weather's going to be with us for the next 3 days. So there's no real urgency for me to immediately get out at the moment. Bees are happy on the ivy at the moment. So one last video in this little series. And this really is all about tomorrow, um, October the 4th, is a day in the calendar when Skyline Advisor Pro 3.5 is going to be end of life and it's no longer going to be available. And according to the the FAQ that's been produced by Broadcom, the replacement for Skyline Advisor Pro is looking at the Diagnostics tab function in ARIA Operations Manager 8.18. But you will also have to deploy ARIA Operation for logs as well for that feature to work. And that will have to be on 8.18 as well. So if you've been following this mini series, this is about part 68, part 63, depending upon what series you're watching, 7 or 8. And this is the last one in this mini series, and this is about VMware Skyline Diagnostics. That's what I call it, but they call it Skyline Health Diagnostics, SHD. And as I've said before, that sounds a bit like a sexually transmitted disease. But anyway, it's, to be honest with you, really, it's a little bit difficult to find on the Broadcom website, to be honest with you. And I have said before that the Broadcom website is not the easiest to use. And even if you actually basically look here in amongst all this, and I will put this in the description if you're trying to find it, because it's very difficult to find searching for it. And it's actually on the third page of drivers and tools under VMware vSphere Enterprise 8. But it doesn't even appear alphabetically. Don't ask. So, without further ado, I'm going to click this little bracket on the outside here, and I'm going to, hopefully, I'm going to be able to download it. Often, yeah. Again, you know, the Broadcom website seems to be all over the place. Some things you're entitled to download, other things you're not entitled to download. I've not worked it out yet. If anybody has worked it out and yet, then please drop me a comment and tell me. And I'm not even sure what the difference is because there's two, both the same builds. Both the same builds. One's called Health Diagnostic Appliance Plugins, and the other one's called VMware Skyline Health Diagnostic Appliance. I know what we're going to do. Today, I'm going to download and deploy this one and see if it's any different. Because previously, I deployed the health diagnostics. We're going to do this quickly. I really don't think that the VMware Skyline Health Diagnostics really is going to help you. It may actually basically help VMware support. So if you escalate call to VMware support and, you know, deploy or get it ready, and you can get the logs out of it. But anyway, for completeness, because the fact turns around and says VMware Skyline Diagnostics, and of course, this is actually available to free to anybody. So anybody can deploy this in their VMware vSphere environment. You don't need a license for this. This is a freebie. So whilst it's a freebie, I'd grab it. Okay, so let's deploy. As we seem to have a running issue on ESXi 003, then I'm actually going to deploy it direct to that host. So here we are again, back connected directly to the ESXi host via the ESXi host client. And I'm actually going to deploy the VMware Skyline Health Diagnostics Appliance plugins. Oddly, I did actually read the manual. I downloaded a PDF. I went through the PDF and I could not find anything that described what this was or what it did. So let's deploy it. VM network thin, power on automatically. Yeah. Let's have a little look. So we're going to specify a handful of passwords here. One of the things I did actually basically get caught out with is the admin username is actually SHD-admin. It's not admin. So network properties, we don't have an existing VMware SHD instance or IP to upgrade. So I'm just going to basically call it SHD Diags. I'm going to give it an IP address because, as we've seen previously, when deploying, I'm just going to deploy to 54. Network prefix 24, IP address, domain name servers, search domain. Yeah. Specifying all this because the last time that we deployed direct to ESXi, it didn't actually basically fill in any of the parameters we hopefully expected. We thought it was going to actually use vSphere client plugin configuration read only. Oh. Didn't see that before on the old one. So I wonder whether or not this vSphere client plugin actually connects directly into VMware vCenter Server, and that's what the plugin option is. vCenter registration support single. Not got any options here, and I'm not quite didn't read here anything about password. We're not doing an upgrade. Diags, network address, network prefix, default IP, DNS, search domains, NTP servers. Okay, I'm just looking to see where it's actually asking me to provide the vCenter server host name or IP address, and it's not. Maybe it could be on the next page. So that's next. It's not. Okay, so let's just do finish. And that said failed. So this is giving an error message. Access to resource settings on this host is restricted to the server that is managing it. So that is VMware vCenter Server in this particular case, actually blocking the deployment of an OVF to ESXi. Interesting. Okay. Let's just see whether or not that we can get this deployed to our cluster. I'm wondering. Okay, so let's just we are now connected directly to VMware vCenter Server in hope that we can deploy it. I might actually forcefully deploy it to, let's try number 2. Hopefully this time I can actually basically select DHCP rather than filling in all those IP addresses. We'll see. Okay, followed by next, accept the license agreement. Like the last time that we actually basically tried deploying an OVF, it failed, but that was deploying it to ESXi003. Static. Okay, so it says I've got 3 properties with invalid. I would always recommend that you deploy OVFs against VMware vCenter server that's managing your host. So SHD Diags is what we're going to call it. It is actually telling us now. Oh, sorry, that's okay. So that can all be done by DHCP. That will fill in the servers there for. Because they're not given by DHCP. So we'll do next and we'll click finish. But, you know, I'm wondering whether or not that this is going to fail. Okay, it seems to be deploying there at the moment. Okay, so that actually successfully deployed against VMware vCenter server to ESXi002. So I suspect we've got something really wonky. That's a technical term with ESXi003. So I need to do a deep dive into that using our area operations manager and our operation logs and our Skyline Health Diagnostics. Is that what it's called? VMware SHD. And VMware SHD is now deployed. It's got an IP address. And it's starting up. It's waiting for me to log in. So nothing. And it started the VMware Skyline Health Diagnostics API server. So let's just see whether I can ping the server, which would be a good start. Okay, I can ping the server. It's started the multi-target system. It's the transport system. It's done the cloud in it. It started UTMP. So I wonder whether or not that I can. I'm sort of kind of waiting for that blue screen that often appears on a lot of the appliances that sort of kind of then offers and turns around and says, now you can log in at HTTP, but I don't know whether or not we're going to get that here. So anyway, so let's just see whether or not that we get some sort of response or we've got to wait it out here. Definitely does have a GUI interface because, as I said before, I kept thinking that the username was admin and it's not. It's SHD-admin. So I think at the moment, I think it's still starting up or initializing or doing whatever it needs to do. So we'll just give it a few moments. So sometime later that day, we got we got a very old GUI web that says welcome to VMware Skyline Health Diagnostics. I'm laughing because this is obviously not been rebranded yet. It still says VMware, and I'm sort of kind of surprised it doesn't say Broadcom Skyline Health Diagnostics, and it doesn't actually basically have the VMware by Broadcom anyway. Remembering that this is SHD admin, and the password, hopefully that it's going to work this time. Okay, yeah, we're going to accept this end user license agreement that we've spoken of. I'm just actually basically having a little look to see whether it says anything in here about not using on mission critical systems. Anyway, I'll come back to that later. Yeah, we'll join the CE program and we'll click finish. Now, this product really, again, you know, Skyline Advisor Pro 3.5 would sort of kind of do some of this work for you. I know organizations that do run both side by side. Before the Broadcom takeover, there were 2 separate teams at VMware that were dealing with the logs from VMware Skyline Health Diagnostics and Skyline Advisor Pro, but they did actually sort of kind of work together. So this particular tool really is just going to allow you to analyze your environment, produce reports and show logs. It's really all I've got to say about it. I don't know, as I said, you know, it's there in the FAQ. At the moment, that actually basically turns around and says that in Skyline Advisor Pro 3.5 ending, this is one of the appliances that you can deploy to analyze and get some logs. So let's go forward and enter our vCenter 8A-Cyrus Consultants and register. And let's find that password from one password and click submit, connect. It's interesting, it's not actually basically displaying a thumbnail there. Let's try that again. Would help if I typed it correctly. I was surprised that it didn't actually basically fail. Let's just try that again. Submit. There we go. So we've got a. For a moment, I thought that all crapped out. My apologies, bad language. We don't want any youngsters picking up any bad language from Hancock's VMware half hour, do we? Okay. So the SHD extension registration registered on vCenter Server 8A. Okay, so I've just actually disappeared back to vCenter Server, and as you can see there, it deployed the plugin. I refreshed the browser, and it appeared in my shortcuts. So we've got a nice little Skyline Health Diagnostics there. And we can basically do a start analysis. So this is the same screen that we're seeing from here, but now basically it's a plugin that's driving it from VMware vCenter Server. So let's do a new health check. We don't have any vSAN, so can't actually continue without actually ticking the vSAN health check. We don't have vSAN. Let's click connect and followed by next. Help you quickly, so I'll just say EE-lab test video log analyze. So let's do 5 days. And I can't do next. List of non-analyzed targets which will be ignored. Please select a vSAN. Okay, so we can't actually run that because that health check is only specific for vSAN clusters. So let's just do a new diagnosis. So let's just do vSphere Diagnostics and a VMware Security Advisory scan. Connect, followed by next. Tag name again, EE-lab-video test. Log analysis for the last 5 days, followed by next, followed by finish. And hopefully, eventually, that will appear in reports. So, okay, it's generating the log bundle, and we will be able to check that later. Okay, so our VMware Skyline Health Diagnostic Report is available. So we can have a little look at summary. We've got a partial collection from ESXi 001. So there's obviously something wrong with 001. We can have a little look at the report, and Have a little look. So we've got an ESXi host disconnecting from VMware vCenter server, loss of heartbeat. So we need to check that. Check software lifecycle status of product. Okay. VMware server uptime history tracker, last 5. Postgres archive service stops randomly. We've got some driver errors. We've got a message about an NVIDIA multi-instance GPU or NV switch error. We don't actually use the GPU service. We need to check that. VMware kernel logs report the message long VMFS 3 response times. So you can see the sort of information that is being provided to you from the Skyline Health Diagnostics or VMware Skyline Health Diagnostics. So I hope that in this last set of videos that we've done really to say goodbye to Skyline Advisor 3.5, which gets terminated tomorrow or early tomorrow morning. Today's the October 3rd, tomorrow's the 4th. And this little mini series, we've looked at deploying Area Operations Manager. We've looked at upgrading Area Operations Manager from 8.16 to 8.18 to meet the prerequisites of the finding replacement for Skyline Advisor Pro. Well, similar, as I've showed you. It's not a complete replacement. One of the prerequisites obviously is that we also have a deployment of Area Operation for logs, which I've showed you in part 66 or 61. And we've also done an upgrade from 8.16 to 8.18 of Area Operation for logs as well. And then finally, VMware STD. With that, thanks very much for watching all these videos. I hope that in the last set of the mini series that you've found a golden nugget in there to take away to implement in your environment. And stay tuned. We don't really know what's in Broadcom's head as to what they're going to produce next, what they're going to release to fill that spot, because we're saying goodbye to an old friend, Skyline Advisor Pro. So thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe there or there or there or there or there. And thank you, and goodbye.